bad, y'all.
What are you talking about?
What up, y'all?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Black on Earth. 5 minutes late. What's good? It's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. If you're wondering why we're all wearing sunglasses, it's because Jordan Internet's bad. But no, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. We got to talk about the conversation that every Bears fan is having. Did the Chicago Bears make a mistake keeping Flus? There's so many names out there. We all got the alert this morning, and I think everybody half lost their mind when you see Bill Belichick is no longer a part of the New England Patriots. There's some good coaches out there. Joe, don't you get embarrassed. Put those sunglasses back on.
Joe was like, I've had enough of this.
Honestly, hey, look. Honestly, I got to put my glasses on just so I can read my notes. I actually just can't see. I just can't see. But no, I just
I am going to be a nagger the entire time.
Hey, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't realize how small Jordan's sunglasses are. Like, why are they so tiny on your eyes? You look like you got them
that's
Will
style,
Smith
baby.
joints in Wild West.
Don't hate on the frames and the Gucci joints right there, baby.
Come on.
Hate on those.
Come on.
Hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. We're also going to be talking about, of course, the free agent class that the Chicago Bears have that could be leaving. Who are they going to let go? Who are they going to keep? All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's jump into it, boys. First off, everybody threw the sunglasses back on. I couldn't read my notes, so I'm sorry. How y'all doing? What's going on?
My sunglasses
at night, so I can.
Hey, I just think of that meme with that kid with the glasses on in the club. Why was that kid in the club, by the way?
We don't have any answers.
Hey, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Nobody really knows.
Hey, Ringo never took the glasses off from yesterday. That's why we threw them all on.
We're like, okay, Ringo.
All right, Ringo just rocking with the glasses. Glasses gang.
I'm gonna jump in right here, man. Yes, he messed up. I mentioned it in my video earlier, but I'm gonna restate it here, and this is the reason why. We all, before we heard the news in that presser, talked about the unique position he was in to completely clean house and start fresh in a situation that had to happen. You had a head coach whose entire staff pretty much crumbled underneath him one way or the other on both sides of the football. I don't see how you look at that and feel encouraged simply because he leaned on what he can do well, which is just call defense. If that's the case, then guess what? You can go back to doing what you do well, be a defensive coordinator. But as far as leading an entire organization, like literally the offensive coach, the OC, DC, everybody that's underneath him, he hasn't shown that he can do that. And that's my concern. How do you roll with that still, knowing that he doesn't have the pedigree, seeing how it turned out, and not go with someone with all these coaches that are available? At least start making some feelers before you say definitively we're going to roll with this guy. Like, give it some time. We got weeks to go, and he's like, we're rolling with him. Dog, did you vet it?
Here's the thing, you don't though, and I think that's the part that's interesting. You may have weeks on when those coaches make decisions, but you have to have a coach in place, especially. And the only reason that I can see that they stuck with Flus outside of all of it, what the heck is Joel doing? What are you doing?
I was trying to send it to you. Go ahead, keep going, bro.
What are you doing?
I was trying to send it to you. Keep going. But it's my control, so go ahead, keep going. What? I can't wait to get back in the studio.
I was trying to show off. He's trying to run the show. Hold on, you want to do it like that? Hold on, you gotta click me and swipe up. Foul. There you go.
That's what I was trying to do,
bro. That threw me all the way up. I'm not gonna lie to you. No, here's what I'll say. Hey, this don't look half bad with all of us in here. Here's what I'll say, right? And I think that this is probably one of the things that you can look at and in defense of holding on to Matt Eberflus is probably the only thing for me. They have to be looking at it and saying, we have to have somebody who's willing to make a decision now, because we have this first overall pick, and you can't come in after that decision is made. You can't fire somebody and then bring somebody in late. If Jim Harbaugh is not ready to make that decision now, I think that could play into this, because his whole thing is, right, there's no decision made at Michigan yet on whether he's going to be in the playoffs or not yet. So he can wait out everything. But I just think, realistically speaking, if you're talking about legitimately going all in on winning, how can you bring Flus back? If you're talking about going in on, right, like, because to me, the same conversation with Flus can be had about the quarterback position. Now, Flus has had successes, but he's also had his failures. Just like Justin has had successes and Justin has had his failures. So to me, I look at this all in the same category, right? We can't speak on one arc and say there's clear-cut better. Excuse me. There are clear-cut better players in the draft than there are for Justin Fields. If you're pro Justin Fields and you're not pro Flus, I'm a little confused, because of the fact that you're defending the mistakes, but he got better at the end. With Flus, we're defending or we're killing him for the mistakes, but he got better in the end.
Yeah, they have two different levels of responsibility, though.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is, I'm with Kid. If you were gonna bring him back, and I was of this mindset, if you felt so definitively you were gonna bring him back this early, this soon, when all the coaching candidates aren't even set, you still got teams in the playoff. Some coaches might get fired. Bring him back as a DC now, but I will say, to Poe's point and the Flus point, is something that I've been saying the whole time. Poe's gave him a shot. Poe's gave Flus a shot. It was no excuses. He definitely improved when he got the pieces. You turned Montez Sweater's now a Pro Bowler,
right?
Plus now Jalen Johnson's about to get paid. So in that aspect, I can see what they're trying to build, because the whole thing's about continuity. But I mean, I'm a Kid. If you were gonna go with him this early, bring him back as a DC. I know it's never been done before, but that was definitely a possibility.
You can't do that.
We might not accept that role.
I wish people would stop saying that narrative that we can bring him back as a
never
DC.
gonna happen.
Yeah,
you can't. You just can't do it by the laws based on him being as a head coach. So the only way that works, you can't do that. So we have to just shut that down now. The whole thing is, did they make a mistake bringing him, keeping him? That's more of a fan perspective, but to them, apparently they didn't feel it's a mistake. They had options if they wanted to go to Jim Harbaugh or someone else. That what they're seeing is this.
What do you mean you ain't talk to Jim?
But the whole we didn't even call him. But I think the point is that they're seeing this defense and they're believing in what they're building. Like we said yesterday, if you compare this defense from where Lovey's defense was, we're going to be a lot better once they fix that. If they fix that D line, we have a way better secondary, a better linebacking core. And the thing is that they were a few games away of either blunders in coaching where he could say, my bad, I learned from that, I'm going to be better. And then if we get an offense that can maybe run the ball and as well as, pass with the development of Justin Fields, could be a very dangerous team. So they're looking at this like, no, we're almost done with this rebuild. He was with us with the tear down, and we're going to see it all the way through.
Here's my thing. I agree with continuity, right? I don't have an issue with you saying you're going to stick with Matt Eberflus if you do your due diligence and actually vetting, like P. Kid said. And I said this earlier. I feel like you're doing the organization and yourself a disservice if you're not going to go out there when you have all of these really good candidates that fell on the market in Harbaugh, in Vrabel, in Eric Bieniemy, and all these different names, and you're just going to sit here and say, well, continuity is our path, so we're just not even going to call Harbaugh, who just won a championship and has experience in the league. That's the problem that I have, is you're not taking the steps to actually address the problem to the best of your ability. You're just okay with okay. you're okay with good enough. And I feel like Matt Eberflus is in that realm of just good enough. You're giving him a pass because he had a better second half of the season with improving this defense, and then the pieces that got acquired in Montez. You saw the improvement, but there's still better out there as far as resume is concerned. And I think that the Bears are. We just better hope that they get it right.
Now, see, that's the one thing, and it's tough, right? Because here's the thing: I don't want Flus here. I'm putting it out there. I don't want Flus here. I don't think he's a good head coach to lead us into the future. By the way, hit the like button, subscribe to the page. Stop playing with us before we cut.
We got over 100 in the chat.
Over 100. Oh, already over 100 in the chat.
Dang.
Hold on now. Over 100.
Let's go.
100.
He thinks that we're bringing him back because he thinks that we're also bringing Justin back unless someone is offering the first round for Fields. But
I think here's the tough part, right? Like, I don't want Flus back. But do we count the first year for Justin Fields? Do we feel like last year counted for Justin Fields?
I'm sorry.
Last year they tried to tank without tanking.
Okay, so we all agree that he tried to tank that they tried to tank last season.
Right.
Yeah.
So then how can we blame Flus for his record?
I'm not blaming him for his record. I'm blaming him for how he managed his staff and the crumbling infrastructure of his staff. At the same time, I don't agree that a head coach and a quarterback, especially one in Justin Fields' situation, are apples to apples. They have two different levels of responsibility. In fact, Flus is responsible for the people who are responsible to get Justin up to speed, and they didn't
100%. But did Flus get better at the end of the year?
Flus didn't get better.
He did get better.
Did Flus get better at the end of the year?
Yeah, he
did. Someone's comment in the thing. No, we just played weaker teams. We lost to all the good teams.
What does that matter?
I agree.
Atlanta was very good.
Yeah,
Atlanta was a good team.
Atlanta was a good defense.
Atlanta was a good defense.
That's a good team, though. They had a good record.
Atlanta was going to be in the playoffs until we beat them.
Defense.
Atlanta was going to be in the playoffs until we beat them.
They have a trash QB in.
They do have a trash.
They're literally a quarterback away from being really
good. So
what
do we praise Flus on? His what? His defense. No,
here's
our
the
defense
thing.
Versus bad teams was good.
Okay, so here's the thing, right? Atlanta was a trash.
We beat Detroit.
Atlanta was the best red zone team in the entire NFL.
Best red zone defense.
Atlanta allowed the fewest amount of red zone touchdowns in the entire NFL. 16 to the point that the Chicago Bears played them. They scored 3 times on that team. So I'm not going to say, right, like everybody's a bad team when the Bears beat them. That's the one thing that pops out, right? Washington was the top 10 defense, and then the Bears beat them. And then it was we never believed in Washington.
No, they're trash.
No, when you watch,
we never thought Washington was good anyway.
But when you watch the Washington game, it was more about they did more to not win the game because it was like they kept shooting themselves in the foot to not win. It wasn't like the defense really did well. Justin did really good on the offensive side of the ball, right? He went 15 of 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
Or he had a record game that night.
Yeah.
But so I get to your point. But it is true. I mean, the quarterbacks that we face, I've always said this is Lovey all over again.
You can only play who's on your schedule, baby.
But I understand that. So you're supposed to beat those bad teams. It's the good teams that we want to see you like act like you belong there. You know, you couldn't. You faltered against Cleveland. The way that the defense definitely held them to a certain point, but then they got tired, right? And so now you got Flacco sitting there resurrecting his career and the Browns against it wasn't a convincing win against Arizona. Yes, they beat Atlanta, but they didn't even show up for Green Bay. And it's like, you know, my indictment of him is the first 4 weeks of the season again. I didn't like, and there was definitely some key blunders that he had going on. Now, maybe because of the whole Allen Williams deal, losing your defensive coordinator, you saw a difference when he brought in Phil Snow. So those things probably helped him. And again, this goes back to second-year GM now, second-year head coach with a second-year offensive coordinator with a quarterback in his second year, but he's a third-year quarterback. So it's all these young guys learning on the job. Now maybe Eberflus, he gets his pass because now he got some grace, right? Because the defense got better. Right. It is what it is. We stuck with him. We don't necessarily have to love him,
Well,
But
I think the conversation is, did they make a mistake? And for me, right, like when I look at kind of where the team is trying to continue to build, my thing is you can't, for the people that are you got to keep Justin Fields because we see the potential and we see the growth and there's just as much good as there is bad. Well, you can't say that without saying that about the head coach too. Most head coaches, they lose their defensive coordinator. There goes your season. They lost another. Now, listen, does he have some problems with hiring? Sure. So does Mike Tomlin. Yeah, I mean, I want to, as far as a CEO, I want to know that you can lead my team. Now, do I have question marks on that? 100%. I'm just talking to the people that are sitting there that are like, well, I see the potential of Justin Fields and I can see this and I can make this happen because the first half was bad, but the second half was good. I can say the same thing about Matt Eberflus.
And to those people, I tell them to shut up because we saw the potential in Carson Wentz. And what is he?
Well, I think that's different. Carson Wentz got put in a different system, and Carson Wentz also broke his leg.
Carson Wentz got injured.
He was MVP.
Carson Wentz shattered his leg, right?
Baker Mayfield had all this potential. They called him trash for a minute. He had a different system, 6 different coaches, all that stuff. Everyone has some sob story there. Like it's real, but realistically,
I don't think a broken leg is sob story. That's really what happened. I don't know if I could call that sob story. Like RG3 was rookie of the year until he got 17 concussions.
He was a sob story. Whatever his continuity was that he had, whatever he was doing, that was shattered. It's gone. Now you go to another team.
Hey, and can't be heartless for some of these mugs, bro.
That is cold blood, bro. I tell you.
Tape it up.
Hey, listen. All of a sudden, Nick Foles is a better QB because all of a sudden you couldn't hear right now. Nick Foles is a legend. He has a statue now. Come on.
No, this is pairs. This is pairs. Hey, B. Jokers break their legs every day. B, you be all right.
Hey, I saw Tom Brady get folded up. He won 3 championships afterwards. What we talking about, baby? Stop playing. Act like Tom didn't get his leg.
You be all right. Get some rest.
Put a Band-Aid on that boy. Get back out there.
Tom broke his leg in half. We watched it too. He won 3 Super Bowls out of 3 of them things.
Hey, Joe, that man can't say. Hey,
somebody stop this man.
Put some Neosporin on that. You'll be fine.
Put some case bandage on it.
Put some Neosporin on that. You're gonna be all right.
Neosporin, grow it right back, bro. No, and here's the thing, right? Like, I get what you're saying. I get all of this. I don't want Flus back. But can I say that Flus didn't get better toward the end of the season? Sure. I think that we all the person who we most disagree with is P Kid. Boy, get up. My leg cut off. You got another one, don't you?
Oh snap! Muck the general.
Remember when Wentz juked Roquan? Yeah, fact. I do remember that. No, I think I'll say this, right? Like, do I feel like there was better out there? Yes. And I'll say, and here's even more than that. To me, if you go with Caleb Williams or you go with Drake May, it makes you look like you're not standing on the things that even you've said.
Yep, absolutely.
Because you can't talk about, oh, this guy's getting better, this guy's playing better, this guy's making more plays, this guy, he's doing all, but also this young guy that's coming in is going to be elite and he's going to be much better. Because I'll tell you this right now, Jim Harbaugh is a better head coach than Matt Eberflus is. Mike Vrabel's a better head coach than Matt Eberflus is. Bill Belichick is a god compared to Matt Eberflus, who's basically the worm in the dirt. Like if we're being 100%, like there's legitimately so much better.
Yeah, but Pat, it doesn't even matter. The thing is now, look, they made a change. We had 2 problems. They got at least rid of one major one, which was Getsy. So if anything, we can celebrate.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the Bears.
But we can celebrate and go ahead and get us a new coordinator, and then we got a new defensive coordinator too. Now I hear you. Look, you know we've all been through this. But it is what it is. So hopefully, look, Lovey did get to a Super Bowl, right?
Well,
the only issue with Lovey was they did not give this man some guarantees. They didn't give him some time because they kept giving him 1-year ultimatums. So it's the ownership, the management that's sitting here saying, we're not smart enough to understand, like, you're not attracting any quality coordinators to come here because you might lose a job in a year. Like, it takes time to put in a system. So unless this dude is here for another 2 or 3 years, you know, we're probably gonna get some rookie coordinator, but hopefully that's what we don't have. That's the issue. Did they learn from that to allow him to get a quality coordinator versus no one's saying he's on an ultimatum, by the way. Because remember, they announced that. They announced that back then after like whatever the 07 or 08 year.
You can argue that he's on an ultimatum or not. He's on an ultimatum. Go out there.
I'm just saying, but they vocally have said that that you've got a year to turn this around.
Listen,
it's like
let him go out there and win 7 games next year. We looking for a new head coach.
Oh, they end the season with 7? Yeah.
Let him go out there.
That would be the biggest blunder because you sat there and had a chance.
You missed out on all the head coaches they could have been. Yeah, 100%.
Or mainly, that's the problem. Is that on Harbaugh.
Two questions. Go ahead, when do we have to get Fields' 5th-year option?
Just coming up
month after the draft.
Yeah.
So this year, though, right?
Yeah. You got to decide whether. You have to decide whether to pick it up or not this year, yeah. But you don't have to, right? Remember, and this is what is funny. Remember, we didn't pick up Mitch's 5th-year option. Now, very different. You can go through the season. You can trade a quarterback, a lot of different things. But, draft, I believe, is in April, and I think you have to pick it up in pretty much May. But, like, we didn't pick up Mitch's 5th-year option. We just let him play out his 4th year, and it was a prove-it year. That could be the case here.
Another question. Yeah. Who is hiring the OC?
Eberflus.
It should be Eberflus.
With I think with polls.
Probably Matt Eberflus
together.
If this was any other organization, I would say it's the head coach. But for some odd reason, the Bears say this person hired this person did that. So who is making the decision on the OC?
I think it's
again. It should be Eberflus.
I think it's a brain trust.
Well, I would say
I think
this.
it's like a combination of brains now.
It is because what happens is you notice a lot of times the GM and the head coach are like getting let go around.
Gross in Virginia.
Man,
to me, you have, because the whole point is if you got a draft for whatever the scheme is, so they all have to be in tune. So I think it's more, are we getting a guy that has in the same scheme that we already ran? The issue is I think we liked the scheme on paper. Guess he just didn't know how to make good play calls.
I don't like the scheme for the style of quarterback that we have. Like you have to,
you don't like the run zone?
No, I like the scheme for a drop back quarterback that has a center that's in place. I like the scheme, but I like the scheme for a certain style of quarterback. And I think this is the part with a lot of the new style of quarterbacks where everybody looks at all these dudes don't just come into the NFL and then all of a sudden it's just like, I don't know how to play football no more. You have old dudes that are literally teaching young dudes, and the young dudes are like, well, this old dude taught me this, so it must work. And I've seen it work with this style of quarterback, so it must work for every style of good quarterback. And yet every now and then you get a guy like a Greg Roman, or you get a guy like who am I thinking? What's our boy this USC's OC? Why can't I think of his name?
Kingsbury.
Lincoln Riley?
You get a Cliff Kingsbury. You get these guys that'll sit there and go, hey, this guy can run. Why don't we actually use his legs? Why don't we move the pockets around? Why don't we change things up? And all of a sudden, those quarterbacks work. But there's so many people that are stuck in, right? Like Luke Getsy, and they said it. They said as much yesterday. Matt Eberflus said it. Poles said it. You have to. A good OC should be able to adjust his system to the style of player that he has. And to me, that's the most important thing. Those are the elite play callers. I don't care. Freaking Kyle Shanahan has had 7 different types of quarterbacks since he's been there. Mm-hmm. Why does the offense keep working?
The mistake that I hate about it is that
that's a good point.
If we get a good coordinator, there's a highly likely chance that if he's hot, it's just like Ben Johnson. You can't keep your continuity because he's taking his offense out there with him. And so that's the mistake to me, was hiring a defensive minded coach in the first place. Mm-hmm. So are we going to get a guy that basically has like you said, is he creative enough? But are we don't know if they're kind of keeping the principles of whatever this offense is supposed to be too. Because they're going to draft players.
I'm say this. It doesn't sound like that. Starting off by trying to go out there and hire Shane Waldron, that's a West Coast style system. I love the fact that that's the first name that we throw out because he's an excellent play designer. I think he's a really good play caller. I know a bunch of people commented on the video and basically like, but the Seahawks offense wasn't good. No, the Seahawks offense was good. You still have to go out there and execute it. There's a couple of games where there was no Geno Smith.
He made Geno Smith a Pro Bowl.
Made Geno Smith a Pro Bowler again. But I think on top of that, right, like I look at it and I saw a couple of games where he coached with no tackles. And they went out there and were still able to put up 20 plus points. Now, was it 24? Sure, but he got no tackles. Right? Like I've seen somebody who has experience to go out and coach when the offensive line is not in perfect conditions. I've seen someone who has experience where the offensive or where the quarterback is in a situation where things aren't perfect. Now you got to go out there and you got to make some things hit. And that's why I said, if you keep Justin Fields, you don't have time to get 2-3 coordinators, and he's got to look at the scheme, go, man, I wish I had been playing at this the first year I came in here, and then get the heck up out of there.
Serious Jones, if we get OC, he has Justin Fields cooking for 4,000 yards, passing 20, 25, 30 touchdowns. He's getting the head coaching job next year.
He's getting the head coaching job.
That's the problem, is you're not going to keep that type of talent around long enough for it to impact, and which is why you hope, like what you just said, Pat, is that if a OC like that, offensive-minded OC comes in and changes Justin Fields' ceiling, and we see everything that we hope that we see out of Justin, then he's gone. Well, you hope that Justin retains all of that information, and he's like, okay, I got it now. No matter what OC we bring in, which is another reason why I think one of the red flags when we talking about retaining Matt Eberflus is the fact that he's 0 for 3 with his staff. Alan Williams, running back coach David Walker. Then you got the ineptitude with Luke Getsy. You're trusting
the QB coach got fired too.
Well, that goes with Getsy.
Yeah, Janoko, right? Exactly. No, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
That's
what I'm saying is
that's Getsy bringing in.
I'm just
Getsy go.
No. But I mean, if we're being, yeah, okay.
I'm just being funny.
Yes, 0 for 4. No, so if that's the issue, then do you trust? You're saying that you're going to give this guy a second chance. Is he getting his hand held by Ryan Poles this time? Is he getting his hand held by other people, Kevin Warren this time, to actually make the right decision? Are they looking at a whole list of candidates and saying, well, who do you have? Who do you think? Why do you think what strengths does he bring to this team? And then are you saying, well, I don't know about this person? Are you checking him on his decision making? Because if that's the case, that's a red flag right there. He's not doing his job properly.
And then even to Jordan's point though, right? I think to like my biggest thing with Flus
Zillow
is the fact that he did not have his team prepared. Like as much good as Flus did, like those beginning games, those games at the beginning of the regular season, plus the last one, the team was not prepared. And I feel like in order for them to take the next step, because it's like Kevin Warren said yesterday, he's done being patient. Like you need to have these guys ready to go to the point where they're saying, hey, yeah, we're going to go in and we believe that we can win because my 7 is better than your 7. Line up and run it.
11.
Hey,
Mike Marks was running 707. That was the problem.
But at the end of the day,
11 on 11 run it.
Hey, but see, that's
my thing.
Oh, hold on. Calvin ain't saying that. Get Calvin in. Oh, those glasses big.
Hey, man, got the style going, baby. Hey, but listen, man, the way I look at it like this, man, is I feel like it's a mistake, true enough, if indeed Flus is on the hot seat for this coming year. If he's on the hot seat for this coming year and you bring in an offensive coordinator that's going to hitch his wagon to his coach who's possibly going to be out of here if we have a losing record or we don't make the playoffs, I mean, who's going to really want to hitch their wagon to an opportunity to basically switch over to a brand new coach for 2025?
Yeah.
And then, okay, and so in that case, if you're keeping Flus, and as Ringo mentioned, that obviously Kevin Warren is impatient about this whole process. He's patient but impatient at the same time. You keep it Justin Fields because, like, why would you get a brand new rookie quarterback, no matter who he is, and he's going to have growing pains? He's got to learn the NFL, which is a different speed. So you need to win games in order to keep your job. And so in all reality, my thing is this. I just feel like It's not a mistake, and I know this is a kind of different take than some of you guys having with it. I don't think it's a mistake just because of the fact that I think the Bears are in win now mode, and they have the continuity that they already built in. The defense has gotten better. They know they gotten a quarterback. They put pieces around him, and bro, for 2024, we should be looking at a record that's somewhere around 9 to 10 wins. I mean, 10 wins minimum. I mean, but the only way this makes sense is if Flus is down in the hot seat. But if he's in the hot seat, this was dumb because now you got all these coaches that's possibly available. Bill Belichick, the GOAT, is available. It's you know.
Well, listen, I think anytime there's a GOAT available, you messed up, right? Like that's the tough part, right? Like anytime Bill Belichick, and for a while now, we've been hearing that Bill Belichick might be available, and that's what makes this even tougher because it's like you heard Bill Belichick was on the market and you stuck with him. But shout out Courtney Cronin, that was the greatest thing ever. I asked her about that on the pod today too, bro. I was like, so she literally was like, she said, so George, Ted, Virginia, everybody's there. Or not Ted, George, Kevin Warren, Virginia, Ryan Paul, everybody's there. Everybody's watching as you ask these questions. So you got to be like, no disrespect for this, but why is he still here? Like, please don't throw me out. What's going on with him? What's up with his deal? No, but here's what I want to ask y'all, right? And I want to ask the chat this too. And to me, it's just yes or no, just so I can get through it, because I know we'll go into 7 different debates based off of it. Did the defense get better after we got Montez Sweat?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Statistically, yeah. Pressure went up. Quarterback hits went up. Sacks went up. Yeah.
They're the number 1 scoring defense.
Yes or no for that reason. He's been deep in that. No, pause. That was crazy, Pat. You gotta relax.
Jail time. Immediate jail time.
Hey.
You watch yourself, Ricky Bobby.
Hey.
But no. Is Montez Sweat something that this Chicago Bears team desperately needed?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Edge rusher that brings pressure.
Yep.
Is the most important piece still missing off of this defense?
Yes.
Free technique.
Yes.
Yep.
Technique. And so now, if you get that pick.
So you saw a defense continually get better without the most important piece on the defense. And listen, this is coming from somebody that doesn't believe in Flus, but I'm just playing devil's advocate with the argument. He improved without what we believe is the most important piece on this defense, and the defense turned into one of the best defenses in the NFL. I can see why people would look at that and say, I don't want to move off of that. Even with the Packers game, as bad as the Packers game was, you gave up 400 yards of offense. They scored 17 points. We could talk about missed opportunities. They missed the field goal. They should have scored this touchdown. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. They scored 17 points. Matt Eberflus talked about and saw an issue with somebody who was on his staff, who he hired, which is an issue. I'm with it. But what was my big kid? What did I talk about with Pace? Pace's biggest sin.
Oh, sticking with him too long. Sticking with the bad decisions too long.
Stuck with a bad decision too long. If they had come back and Flus said you have to keep Luke Getsy, get him out of here too. Pack everybody up and get him up out of here. Yeah. Flus was like, hey, this offense is horrible. You got to go. And not only that, take it for what you will, but absolutely called out his offensive coordinator when the season was over.
Absolutely.
Saying, I believe you have to adapt your system to the quarterback you have to be a good OC is absolutely a shot at Luke Getsy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he gone.
I don't like
he gone.
I don't like that Flus is here. I don't. I don't believe it.
I'm indifferent.
I think we're gonna end up in the same spot. But I do believe that he made correct decisions and did things the right way to finish out the season, even if it was very much up and down.
I feel like this is a repeat of the Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy situation, because Ryan Pace, as much as we like to kill him, made good decisions. Some of those decisions are still on this team. Some of those decisions are like still on this line realistically. But again, there was these things that we just couldn't ignore that ultimately made us crumble, and Pace stuck with it.
Yeah.
Him Poe's rolling with Eberflus going into this second half is the same thing. So we can bet on continuity. We can talk about how the defense got better. We had a good defense under Pace too. Had a great defense.
Now, Calvin,
well, for a year, we had a 1 year defense.
We didn't have a sustained.
We had 1 year. Yeah.
Well, this is what I want to say.
2018 is the only year we had a good defense.
Yeah.
Every other year we were middle of the pack.
And the offense fell off. It's like all of a sudden there was no creativity with Nagy. It's like, what the heck happened? Like, you came out the beginning of the 2018 season, like, oh my God, this is incredible. And he just tailed off.
Cute. Yeah.
And then the next year, that's the same. Whatever we got in that Philly game, that offense, that's what we got the rest of that tenure with him. But I think to a degree with Eberflus, we don't like him because he doesn't win the room. But in terms of the room, I think that to a point, you do have to give him credit to a degree that, well, actually, I was about to give him credit, but I'm like, nah, he got that defensive tackle following that tight end. I didn't like that. He did that twice.
Hey, listen, I'm with you. I think that there are things that he has that are absolutely sins, that are bad play calls. I think that he's gone. I think that there are times where I was responding to him.
He didn't like that.
Forget this guy. No, I'm just playing. But by the way, I've told Joe this. I'm coming to realize the power I have on social media. So I'm done quote tweeting people unless it's about sports, because I quote tweeted somebody just on some like, I'm gonna fry you up real quick, and people didn't used to pay attention to that, and now people are just unequivocally on my side. So that's very scary power to have.
Just because you're you.
Like, when you quote tweet somebody and you just like, hey man, I don't really, hey, you need to chill out, and then like somebody comes out of nowhere, it's just like, your mother was a trollop. Wait, hold on, whoa. I'm riding with Pat. We're talking about sports, bro. It's okay.
The following is strong.
What I think the difference is here is, and I think it's just we're in the moment right now, guys. Right?
We wanted Harbaugh. That's the problem.
We wanted Harbaugh. I would have taken Vrabel. Bill Belichick, I'd have taken in a heartbeat, although I'm always scared of Belichick because Josh McDaniels follows him. Is he the next in line?
I didn't want him here.
I'm always nervous with
Belichick.
Josh McDaniels. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. But
he's old school.
B-Dog, what I'm saying is he doesn't win the press conference, like for the fans.
But you know what?
Talks to us,
you listen to Lovey though. Lovey never won a press conference. Lovey was terrible.
I didn't say I love Lovey. I'm just saying that with Eberflus, my point was that, he's what I'm getting at is that it's giving him grace to a point. We may not like him publicly, right? But behind closed doors, if he seems to be organized, because it's kind of like certain people just can project certain ways, like in other avenues, but then they're good in other things. He clearly is good at defense to a degree.
Yes.
And so their mentality is, we got 7 wins. We were probably 4, if not, especially if any of those earlier 4 games. The earlier 4 games were a disaster, but the last stretch, you're probably 3 or 4 games away from being 10 or 11 wins this year. Yeah. If they coached it right.
Yes.
So the whole point is he says, Kevin Warren says continuity, right? He's like, we went from 5-11 to whatever, and then boom, we went 13-3. And that's their mentality. We're going to fix this offense, and we're going to take off. They said the Rams dude, the coordinator, was a first-year coordinator when they went and took off there. I think it was Mike Martz.
Yeah, Mike. I didn't. Well, he wasn't a first-year coordinator. I think it was his first year with the Rams as a coordinator.
Right. That year.
Which I'm not going to lie. Again, like I said, coming into this, I'm very excited about the pool that we may be looking at, because we're starting with Shane Waldron. Now, does it get worse from there? Is that like the number one name on the list? Yeah, I mean,
is that just smoke and mirrors?
That might be concerning.
Yeah, they're going to get whoever they're going. Wait, who's their agent?
That's a good point.
Baby? It's all about the agency. Hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to
we gotta get to these other topics.
We got one more topic we got to get to at least, man. We got 20 minutes left in the show. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. We're gonna be responding to y'all comments in the chat as well all throughout the show.
200 in the chat.
Make sure that y'all stay in tune with us.
We just hit 200.
200, baby.
Over
Let's
200
go.
in the chat.
It's two.
Here's the real question. Right now it's just Pat in the lower third and half of Calvin. Which free agents do the Chicago Bears
one shoulder?
I knew this man was David Ruffin.
Oh, here we go. We're changing out. What's going on here? Wait a minute. He's just swapping cameras. Actually, this one works. This is weird. Which free agents do the Chicago Bears look to bring back? Bears have 19 free agents available. I'll tell you this right now. Let's start this off and get this out of the way. Lucas Patrick is gone.
Oh, yeah. Get him out of here.
100%.
Get him out of here.
Joe, you having too much fun here, dog. Should have never gave him the controls. No, I mean, listen, Lucas Patrick is gone.
Hey, can I do something real quick? Can I do something real quick?
Don't you dare say keep Lucas Patrick.
Is this list you said this is legit? Like this report?
Yeah, he's the 19 free agents.
It's 19. Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna just do this real quick because if any of y'all say this, I'm gonna come drive to your house and slap you. Real quick. Trent Taylor.
So aggressive.
Very. Trent Taylor. Who that?
That's the kick returner.
That's the kick
returner.
He's listed as a receiver.
He is, but you know they use him as punt returners. That's the same thing as Vegas Jones.
Get him out of here. Colin Johnson. Who that?
What?
Colin Johnson was a late signing.
Yeah.
Colin Johnson.
Yeah, he was with the Giants before.
And this is why we don't let Kid do this part.
No. It's comedy here. You gotta understand.
Were signed at the end of the year.
Who that? Get him out of here. Anyway, like I don't need to resign.
We're really talking about 5 or 10 of. We don't need all 19.
Right. Kid finna run through everybody. Here's the thing.
Run through this list. You know what we got to say?
Trent Taylor, I'm fine with bringing back because we finally have stability at a punt returner. One game he ended up muffing a punt. And it was one of the worst weather games of the season. Trent Taylor, I'm fine with bringing back, or just put anybody else back there that you have. But Tyler Scott, maybe not Tyler Scott. I get flashbacks every time I see him return a punt, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll tell you one name who's on here that you might say, who's that? Maybe not who's that, but like, don't bring him back. I'm not worried about him. But I think he is very instrumental based on how Ryan Poles talked yesterday and as a leader in the locker room. Mercedes Lewis.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't mean to hit them up.
I'm doing a whole show right now. What are you doing?
All right, we're gonna let Pat go.
Yeah, you know what? I do want to mention Mercedes Lewis real quick.
Somebody else that we absolutely need to keep. Jalen Johnson. Let's talk about this real quick because Pat is just tweaking right now.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson. I mean, my whole daughter and wife came down, so that's a thing. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right, there we go. And
hey, let me comment on Mercedes real quick because we were touching on Mercedes for a second.
What?
Let you what?
Mercedes?
Hold on. Hey, real quick. This the thing.
Comment.
I know I've been gone, but y'all been letting the pauses slide.
I said comment on Mercedes.
Okay.
What is going on with y'all, man? Get your minds out the gutter. Anyway, I wanted to comment on Mercedes. Now y'all making me think about it wrong. Mercedes Lewis has been a pivotal part. I think that, first of all, he's a tight end by positioning, but, I mean, you can even use him, and they have been using him as technically as your sixth tackle, your sixth lineman on the line. He's very good at blocking. He can actually still get some things done when it comes to pass catching. I think that he's a veteran leader in the locker room. That's somebody that you want to retain. You don't let go of something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tricky. Yeah, just dirty minds, man. Dirty minds.
I think most people heard touching, and I heard let me come in on Mercedes.
That's what I heard.
I said let me comment on Mercedes.
I didn't hear comment. I heard come in. Shout out to 10 in the chat. What's up, gang? Trent is better than Velas. I'm just saying. I think Cody Whitehair is gone as well. Cody Whitehair is still under contract, though. He will be a dead cap hit, but the money that it's going to cost is literally better than anything that we're fine with that money. But no, I'm with you on. Chat. You said what?
I put in the chat the list of the guys. So.
Oh, okay. I'm big on I'm fine with Mercedes Lewis sticking around. I think that, like you said, he's a leader. You know what Mercedes Lewis is, and he's somebody that's still really good. For you Cubs fans, Jason Hayward.
Yeah, why you got you always coming for the Cubs fans?
Hey man, that's a very
right. Like, listen, how many times have we talked about? Have y'all talked about? Not me. How many times have y'all talked about you don't win that World Series without Jason Hayward giving the speech.
That speech was impactful. Yes. When the rain delay happened, that speech definitely
That's who Mercedes Lewis is. Mercedes Lewis is the guy that comes in and says, listen, he was instrumental in keeping the locker room together, as according to Ryan Poles. I had heard that for a little while.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like I had heard that for a little while that Mercedes Lewis was one of the main leaders in that locker room. So I wasn't surprised by that at all to hear that. And I think he's somebody that you do have to keep around. Equinemius St. Brown boys.
Yeah, blocking receiver. You need blocking receivers.
I'm rocking EQ.
Yeah,
hey,
he's a four. He's a comeback.
All the people that's laughing in the chat about Jason Hayward thing.
Everybody's talking on top of each other.
I said, why we keep getting blockers that got to block? Why can't we just bring in blockers? Why we got to have receivers that can block?
On the outside. You got to seal the on the outside, yeah. Well,
hopefully
to me, it's more about depth. If he comes, if the whole point is like, again, we're building these teams, right? And if most of your team is built on a bunch of rookies and low contracts, where it's averaging $4 and $5 million a year, and then when you actually have to spend money like on a Montez for $25 million, if you got to pay for a quarterback 40-some plus million, you know, you only get what, like 100. What's the cap? Like 150 million or something like that a year.
Hey, also, quick point with EQ. If I'm keeping Mercedes, do I need EQ? Because
you need all the blocking receivers you can get. Yeah, I think
Mercedes I can put outside as well. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I just think that too. I mean, that's a depth position. It's more about, you know, at this point, they're also done like a lot of these guys got what, 1 year, 2 year contracts. So Poles, I think, is set this up so that he can look at the draft. Like this next year, this draft coming up is probably going to fill out a lot of this roster moving forward. Yeah. So I don't think a lot of these guys do come back. Yannick Ngakoue, even though he broke his ankle, he was probably on a 1 year deal or make or break year anyway.
Can I get him cheap though? Can I get him cheap? Because now you're coming back off of an injury. If I can get you for $2-3 million as a pure pass rusher, perfect. I don't need you to be out there all 4 downs.
And he might be a backup because if we're going to address that in the draft, then you're talking about him coming into spell the best edge rusher in the draft or whatever.
Yeah. So
remember, we're gonna have a lot of rookies coming in like this year, especially if they get a haul. Like even if they move, let's just say hypothetically they move from 1 to 2, they're probably gonna pick up 2 or 3 different draft picks this year, because you're not necessarily gonna get the haul for next year. And then if they make another trade down again, so you're gonna have to round out your squad with it. There's gonna be a lot more players on this team. I mean, I don't think Lucas Patrick, he's probably gone.
Lucas is gone, I hope. Please, God.
Eddie Jackson wasn't even on the list, but his contract is expired.
Man, I wish he was.
No, he's still got another year. Eddie's got another year.
No.
Eddie has another year. He just has dead cap money still on. You have to decide. His dead cap hit isn't that bad this year, basically. So if you get rid of him, he's got good dead cap. Mm-hmm. It's like $9 million or $8 million. Let's ask about the names we care about, right? We went through pretty much most of it. Robert Tonyan, do we care? Is he there? No, he's gone. Okay, all right, cool. Follow Luke wherever he ends up going. Let's start off with there's 3 names on this list that we probably actually care about. Number 1, Jalen Johnson.
Number 1.
Ryan Poles.
Absolutely.
Got to bring him back.
He's going to get the deal done. Here's my only concern. Ryan Poles has said he's going to get the deal done before, and Roquan Smith don't play here no more.
I believe this time. I think he's really going to make sure he gets his deal done because Jalen is really like the leader of that defense when it comes to the cornerback. So you need him in there. You need that stability, and he's the best player you got back there. So you can't let him go. You just can't.
How did I read that? Yeah, I guess
you can't. Also, I don't think you can have so many situations play out like that. I think after a while, people start looking at how you do business in that regard. It's like, all right, nah, never mind. Especially if it turned out to be what Roquan said it was. Roquan was kind of capping on that, but
yeah, Roquan had a little selective memory on that because when they was like, "Who's Saint Omni?" Oh, he's just a dude. Like what?
Hey, dude. He definitely tried to make it seem like he was the complete victim. I was like,
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit tough. So Jalen Johnson, I think everybody's in on Jalen Johnson, right? We all.
Yes.
I'm fine with him coming here. I'm fine with him staying
around.
Around.
Pro Bowl corner in a while.
Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney is
I'm sorry, peace.
I like Darnell. Put him in the slot, but I don't know if
he is in the slot.
They don't.
No, they were using him as a number one. He was using.
He ain't no number one.
Here's what's tough about Darnell.
Deuces.
All of the opportunities that Tyler Scott got that he dropped used to be Darnell Mooney.
Mm-hmm.
So Darnell Mooney's getting the scraps. He's getting the play broke down. I'm looking for anybody open. There's Darnell.
But is that a Getsy issue?
That's what I was gonna ask. Does removing Luke Getsy from the situation change your mindset? Because Darnell Mooney was a 1,000-yard receiver with, of all people,
he was a 1,000-yard receiver. Yeah.
That's a good point.
I think the thing about it is you can't let him, because like you said, he's a 1,000-yard receiver. You can't let him go somewhere else, and then he just magically starts eating again.
I mean, you can. It's not the end of the world.
To me, this isn't Allen Robinson, where Allen Robinson just basically he aged out. He wasn't, this is more like Mooney. If they keep him, I'm okay with that. But it's also clearly based on what kind of contract is he going to command. And he is a 1,000-yard receiver. I don't think there was a decline like we saw with Allen Robinson.
Well, there was a decline, but I don't feel like it was.
No, I think it was a decline of just not using them. You're not putting him in position. He, like you said, he should have got those opportunities like Tyler Scott got, because Tyler wasn't ready for prime time. Mooney was making catches. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. I liked him as a receiver.
I don't mind him as wide receiver 3. If we're getting MHJ, I don't mind him as wide receiver 3 for the right contract, obviously.
But I think here's the thing, and this is where the business of football comes in, right? If you don't mind him as wide receiver 3, sayonara, I'll see you later. Because guess what? Tyler Scott's good enough to be wide receiver 3.
There you go.
Yeah. And he's younger.
He's on a cheaper contract. I don't have to pay him.
But that's probably what's going to happen. They're going to save the money because they're going to, if they keep Fields and pay him, they gotta get as light as they can on that salary cap. So he probably ends up being a casualty because you got Tyler Scott. You even got Velus.
Well, you know what? I'd say this. Velus is a wide receiver 3 this year when he finally stopped fumbling the football. Wasn't that bad.
That's right. That might be our new Debo.
Like, don't say that. Stop.
Nah.
Don't worry about it. And there we go.
That's a tease. Right? That's too much.
Don't do that. I have control.
Don't do that.
I'm
the third name that I thought was interesting on this list, because of how the Chicago Bears kind of utilized him again, D'Onta Foreman.
Yep.
Are you bringing D'Onta Foreman back?
I like Foreman.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like.
Why didn't they use him in the end?
Was he hurt? A running back though? Do you think we might draft a running back?
Nah, you just drafted Roshan.
Nah, that's
Johnson.
not a position of need right now.
You're gonna draft a running back again. I think you probably ride things out with Roshan. Here's my thing with Foreman. You can't have more than one. You need a running back. You need one running back, and then you need his backup. Because that's how running backs get going. All the running backs in the end, we always talk about this. We're like, oh, but there's so many, there's options. I can have this and this and this and this. No, you got like you look at Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's carrying the football 20 times a game. Saquon Barkley's getting 20 carries a game. Bijan Robinson's he was getting like 12 for a while, and then they were like, he's a punt returner. I'm so glad they fired Arthur Smith. What a D-bag, bro. What a D-bag move on that one, bro. Oh, I'll get him more touches the next game, and I put him on punt return. What a D-bag. But to me, right, like you need one running back. And if I'm being honest with you, buy Khalil Herbert as well. Now, Khalil Herbert's just still under contract, but
he's got one more year. Yeah.
I would go into this season. Khalil Herbert is my starter. Roshan Johnson is my backup.
Then I don't need Foreman. I forgot.
I'm giving you the option for Roshan Johnson to win this job.
Yeah, I want Roshan. I want Roshan to be the starter.
Roshan should be the 3 down back
block, next year. And I think we're expecting an improved offensive line this year coming up.
Yes.
So we're averaging like
still a young offensive line, so we'll see.
Well, he was probably what was he averaging like 6
Preston
yards a carry? Wasn't he averaging like 6 yards a carry, 5 and some change?
Roshan, he was getting some good runs.
Every time he gets the ball, he gets some yards.
He just doesn't. The only problem is I feel like once you give him the lanes to run through, He doesn't have that break. He's almost like Matt Forte-ish, like got the talent and just couldn't give
I'll
you
take it.
Hey,
explosion.
listen.
But he couldn't take it all the way to the house. That's
Hey,
all.
I hate to tell you this. Matt Forte is the third best running back in Chicago Bears.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
I'll take it. You ain't saying nothing
I
wrong.
didn't say he was bad. I'm just saying he reminds me how
We all know he's not Bijan.
I'm not gonna let you
we
sit
know he's
here
not
and spew
Bijan.
Matt Forte slander. Now, if we talk about top 10 all
I'm telling
time,
the truth. I'm saying that if you watch Forte, he could catch the ball.
Yeah.
He got a good first step. He just did not have home run speed. I didn't say he was terrible. I love Matt Forte. I hated that he left.
Matt Forte.
I mean, are they trading him to the Jets after he left here?
Hey, yeah, for a while there, every running back we
He
had
played for the Jets.
For a while there, every running back we had ended up on the Jets. I mean, Thomas Jones went to the Jets.
Yeah, Thomas Jones.
Matt Forte went to the Jets.
Forte.
Didn't if I'm not mistaken, who's the other one? Cedric Benson have a run with the Jets. Rest in peace.
No, he went to the Bengals.
He was in Cincinnati.
I know he went to Cincinnati, but didn't he finish with the Jets for a year? Maybe.
Ooh, I'm not sure.
Hey, you know, Joe, you grow out the goatee, you
hard.
might look like him. You grow out the goatee.
Come on, man.
Like Matt Forte, you know, beef up a little bit. Use the gym.
All I'm saying is that that's still it's a good barometer. I'm not saying that Forte was bad. I'm just saying that Roshan, like Roshan they need the help. It's not like you're the one-man wrecking crew and you're really separating away from him. So if the offensive line is good, he can eat is all I'm getting at.
Hey, listen, I normally don't address Muck. He said, Brandon Marshall went to the Jets. That's fact. Shout out Coach Cortez.
True.
Jordan Howard?
Hey, I normally don't address Muck mostly because of the name. He said Forte was criminally underused. Which Forte were you watching? Forte was overused. He led us in rushing. He led us in passing yards. He was our number one receiver.
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all was running like 43% of the offense through.
No matter what the play was, the first option was Matt Forte. Here we go, baby.
Yeah, hopefully we see some more, maybe some, like I said, if we see the running backs have a little bit more, some more dimensions to them where they can catch the ball in the receiving game. But Roshan, he clearly can pick up the blitz, you know. So if we have an improved offensive line where he can chip and maybe dump off because now he doesn't have to block freaking defensive ends all the time, you know, he might have a greater expanded role coming up next year because everybody was pretty high on him.
There's one guy we have to bring back, Pat. We have to bring this guy back because he did such a great job inspecting the other guy. We have to bring Dan Feeney back. Dan Feeney in that last game looked really good.
Heck of a mully, bro. Heck of a mully.
He looked really good, didn't he? This turnstile. I'm just saying, he deserves the opportunity.
What are you trying to do,
he deserves the opportunity to not let that be the last.
As a backup center, I'm cool with Dan Feeney. As a starting center, maybe not.
I rock with it.
I'm fine with the mully being a part of this team. I'm not gonna lie to you, mostly because mullet. I mean, it is what it is. How many mullets have you seen in your life? Like, how many mullets have you really seen?
Not in person.
That's exactly why.
Not in person. You're right.
Be on this. Right. You wore a mullet in 2024,
boys. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, it's a mullet in 2024. I holla at you, my G.
Did somebody say bring back Devin Aroma should do?
Hey,
he was saying that he ran to the Jets, I believe.
Hey, we're not gonna disrespect Devin Aroma should do either. He's got one of my favorite Jay Cutler highlights of all time.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the Hail Mary into the end zone.
Let me ask y'all this. There's one more name on this list that is it's an interesting name. I feel like we didn't see enough of him in pass blocking or pass defense, I should say. But in the run defense, he was a solid piece. Where we at on Justin Jones?
He out of here.
I don't see him as an impact. Like when he's out there, I don't feel like he stands out. So I mean, we can get better. We can address that in the draft again too.
Stand out in run defense though.
Well, I mean,
it sounds like
I'm just saying you can get better.
Like,
my whole point is you can actually improve that
he
position.
Was signed to be the Phri technique though. He came over from San Diego. He's been average. You know, he hasn't been as impactful. I think the point is that when Montez Sweat got there, everybody seemed to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
So we need a guy. We need our real three technique. I say goodbye to Justin Jones.
Yeah, unless he's a backup like Yannick can be.
I'm cool.
I mean, I don't know if Yannick's going to be a backup. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, we'll see. Well, you have to address.
Well, if they get an edge rusher,
you got to address it probably in the draft.
But I mean, you got to
be right.
You got to use this logic, right? The logic is that because we didn't have the pieces and because Eberflus didn't have the right people and we lost his DC, that technically most of these people in some way, shape, or form should be brought back because our OC was trash. How do we really know they weren't good? I'm just
The
saying,
tape don't lie.
if we use the chat's logic, right? One fish, two fish. If we use the logic here, right? We might be sitting there saving all of these jobs. I'm just saying.
Hey, listen. I will say this, and I can't say more than this. I can't say anymore. For what Matt Eberflus had to endure with his staff, he couldn't see it coming.
He couldn't see it coming.
He couldn't see it. No, he couldn't see it. No, I didn't say that. Y'all relax. He couldn't see what was supposedly, it was a shock with everything that happened with Allen Williams. It was a shock with everything that went down with the running backs coach.
Oh man,
the way that he handled it, I'm actually impressed with.
I give it some grace. Yeah, that's true. Everything that happened, yeah, sure. He could have crashed.
He could have crashed and burned.
Sure.
He could have crashed and burned. The way that he handled it, I'm actually impressed with. So we'll see, man. Listen, it's a long off season. We'll see how this team addresses it. I think no matter what, Ryan Poles is going to be drafting based on the offensive side of the football. But it's going to be an interesting offseason, boys. I'd say
I would say this in terms of Justin Jones too. I mean, when you look at what they're paying him, he was only getting like $2 and $4 million. That lets you know the type of impact that he has, right? So he didn't have a lot of impact, period. So what you're willing to pay, and if you can draft well, great, because that's what says everything. The numbers will tell you what you're determining your value.
Yeah. I do like this comment. I'm not gonna lie, by Gucci Finesse. He said, he started the fire when he hired them. No credit for putting the fire out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel that exact same way.
It is
because that's when we hear that, and this is why this is weird for me. Because I feel like I've defended Flus for most of this. And I
did defend him all live. I just want you to know you defended him the entire time.
No, and I don't want him to be on the team.
He's the Michael Scott head coach.
Michael Scott of NFL head coaches. But you know what? Dunder Mifflin was an elite paper company. And at the end of the day, you got to say they won their Super Bowl, right? They won their Super Bowl. They end up becoming their own solo company. They got paid. They got bought out for it was like $6+ million or something like that. They won their Super Bowl technically. Everybody left with millions in their pocket for selling paper. Matt Eberflus, get the paper. Hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer, joined by the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid, of course, the superb producer Joel Holt. Throw the hard R on there. The man, the myth, the legend, formerly known as Ringo J. Stefan Nadine, Jordan J.C. over on the Chicago Bears Breeze, and Calvin was struggling not to smile there when I pulled him up on the screen. Big T-Dub in the building. I'm Pat the Designer. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear Don. Base. Did Ringo lick his lips when I put him up there? He always does.
It's
only right.
Somebody else.